Week 11, Complications Continued, Part 2. Surface equipment problems. We've already discussed pump problems. Let's take a look at leaks in the BOP stack. The general consensus is the annular preventer is the best option for closing in the well. There are some advantages and disadvantages to using the annular preventer. Advantages include you can strip through the annular preventer, and it can close on almost anything including drill collars and tool joints. The disadvantages of the annular preventer include it's generally rated to a lower pressure than the pipe rams, and it takes longer to close than the pipe rams. If the annular preventer starts to leak, it may be possible to stop the leak by increasing the regulator pressure. If this doesn't work, it may be necessary to ensure you are spaced out correctly and close the pipe rams. What are the solutions for a plugged or washed out choke? Sometimes a plugged choke can be cleared by quickly opening the choke up all the way. If you were drilling when the click occurred, cuttings are still in the mud. If you remember looking at the discs inside of the choke, the flow area may be small depending on the back pressure. If opening the choke does not clear the obstruction, then it will be necessary to switch to the manual or backup choke. This requires shutting down the pumps, realigning the choke manifold, and doing another pump startup. Realize that operating the manual choke is more difficult than operating the remote choke. Subsurface well problems. Plugged or washed out bit, drill string washout. For a plugged bit, you will have a new ICP, a new FCP, and a new drill pipe pressure schedule. It would be reassuring if the pressure increase you observed matched the calculated expected pressure increase for a plugged nozzle. Besides making pressure adjustments, no other action is required for a plugged bit. Likewise, with a nozzle washout, you would hopefully see a pressure drop which would correspond to the loss of a nozzle. Nozzle loss is generally sudden. However, drill pipe washouts are usually much more gradual and frequently continue increasing over time. They likely would not, except for one moment in time, match the calculated pressure loss for a nozzle loss. Subsurface problems continued. For a plugged nozzle and a washed out nozzle, we will continue circulating with new pressures. However, a drill string washout is a more complicated situation. If you can determine that the washout is very high, you may be able to strip out of the hole to replace that joint. If the washout can be determined to be very low, that is, very close to the bit, it may be possible to continue to kill the well, realizing you must take great care as this is technically an off-bottom kill now. Bullheading. Usually, bullheading is not discussed in this chapter as it is not a surface or downhole problem. However, since we likely won't have an opportunity later to discuss bullheading, we will mention it here. Bullheading is a possible tool to use in some circumstances where other good options don't exist. It's generally considered a method of last resort. It has several disadvantages, which include 1. You may not put the fluid back where you got it. This can be a big problem. 2. You may damage the formation, which can have a permanent negative effect on future production. However, in some situations, this may be your best option.